4.
7. 7. You got this, Science Mom. You can do it.
I got this.
Hi, I'm Math Dad,
I'm Science Mom.
and today we're reviewing addition and subtraction of whole numbers.
This is probably the most useful math there is. Like, this is what I use most often.
It is the fundamental building block of most operations, and even though this is something that you might have learned in earlier grades, it's something that will just keep coming back, and it's so important for us to master this fundamental.
So we're going to do a bunch of review problems, and we'll go through them kind of fast. If you print out the worksheet or just take advantage of that pause button, pause the video and work on the problems yourself as you go, you'll learn a lot more.
Guaranteed. But before we get to any problems, we have this warm-up problem that Science Mom was working on before we got started.
And I did it. I came up with an answer.
That's right. We tried to make the number 4 using a 4, 6, 7, and 2. The rule was you had to use all 4 numbers, and it looks like you did it, although I'm going to rewrite what you had done, Science Mom, just so it's a little bit more clear.
But you didn't have to erase it.
I had to dispose of the evidence. It's gone. Now they'll never know.
I remember what I did.
So, if I recall, you took the number 7, and then you wanted to subtract 3, but the way that you got that number 3 was to do 6 times 2, and then divide by 4.
Yep, because 6 times 2 is 12, and 12 divided by 4 is 3.
Cool. And if you put that all together, you get the number 4. I did notice a couple other ways of getting there. So one was just to do...
You should pick a different color.
Oh, a different color, yes. 7 times 2 is 14, minus 6, and then minus 4 from that. And that will give us 4.
Ah.
Yep. And then I saw yet another way. Let's see, if we do 6 divided by 7 minus 4, so that's 6 divided by 3 is 2, and then either plus 2 or times 2, and that would give us 4. We're going to start off with a review problem, Science Mom. I want you to round this whopping big number to the nearest 10,000.
Round it to the nearest 10,000, all right. So I'm going to be looking, I'm going to be looking at this digit here and this digit because I want to round to the nearest 10,000. And so that's the number that will either go up or down. And this is the number that will tell me if I round up or down. That number is less than 5, so I round down, which means that this huge big number is going to be 7,299,299,000,000,000. Was I off?
No, you're good. You're good.
And then 77 million 610,000.
That's
There we
right.
go.
And let's count the number of zeros at the end of her answer. 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. It had to be at least 4 zeros to match up with the 10,000.
I did it.
Well done, Science Mom.
That was what we did in the last video, but now we're going on to addition and subtraction.
That's right. Okay, so we're going to start by adding two 3-digit numbers here. And we start at the far right of both numbers and in our ones place, and we add 8 plus 5 is 13. So typically we just put this 3 down bottom and we carry the 1 up top. But I want to talk real briefly, why do we do that? Well, it's because 8 plus 5 is 13. So that's like saying, I could ignore those two and I could put a 13 up top. And that would be doing the same thing, right? 8
Right.
and 5, we're allowed to replace 8 plus 5 with the number 13. And in that case, well then 3 plus nothing is 3. And we don't organize our work that way, but that's really all that's going on. We've just regrouped them.
So that's why we carry the 1.
That's right, we carry the 1. 1 plus 2 in the tens place is 4, very good. And then 4 plus 2 in the hundreds place
Is 6.
is 6. We've got 643. Some larger numbers here. We start at the ones digit on the far right. 3 plus 3.
Is 6.
1 plus 9.
Is 10. So we put a 0 below the 9 and we carry the 1 over to the other.
We do, we carry the
column.
1. So 1 plus 8 plus 4 more. That'll get us up to 13. So I put the 3 there, carry the 1 up top. 1 plus 6 plus 5.
Is 12.
12. So I put the 2 here, carry the 1. And then 1 plus 4 plus 9 is 14. So put the 4 here, put the 1 here. And now I'm going to go back and make sure my commas ended up in the right spot. If I've lined up my work neatly, the comma will actually already be in the right location. 142,306.
Excellent.
Oh, 999,999.
That's a big number.
That is.
I really want to round that up to 1,000,000.
Ooh, you bring up an interesting suggestion. If we replaced it with 1,000,000 and then did the addition, would that make it easier?
And then we just subtract 1 when we're done?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably would.
Wow. Okay, let's try that afterwards. Let's do it the normal way once, and then let's follow Science Mom's suggestion. That's kind of clever.
All right.
All right. So 9 plus 8 is 17, adding up our ones digits. So I'm going to put the 7 here. I'm going to carry the 1. 1 plus 9 plus 7.
Is 17.
Also 17, all right. 1 plus 9 plus 6.
9 plus 1 is 10, so 16.
16, carry my 1, all right. 1 plus 9 plus 1.
11.
Okay, put the 1 here, carry the 1. 1 plus 9 plus 5.
15.
15, carry the 1. 1 plus 9.
10.
10, okay. So put the 0 here. I could try to carry the 1, but there's really nowhere to put it, so I'm just going to bring it down immediately. Bring my comma down here, and I actually have to add another comma right here. 1,051,677. Now, Science Mom suggested something that I thought was pretty clever. She wanted to replace the 999,999 with 1,000,000. And then do the same problem, but then we'd have to, since we've increased our number by 1, we would have to then subtract 1 from whatever the answer is to this problem. So let's see if this would have been any easier. So 0 plus 8, 8. 0 plus 7, 7. 0 plus 6, 6. 0 plus 1, 1. 0 plus 5, 5. Wow. So that's a similar addition problem. And then if we subtract 1,
Then we get that number.
it is going to give us the right answer. Ooh, so Science Mom stumbled across the little trick that was hidden in this problem. Sometimes we'll see those, sometimes we don't, but if we're on the lookout for them, we're more likely to see different ways of regrouping our numbers to make calculations easier. So nicely done, Science Mom.
Why, thank you.
All right, subtraction
Ba-dum-bum.
can be maybe a little bit trickier than addition because if we take an 8 from a 6, for example, that's not a positive number. That's hard. You can't take 8 eggs if you only have 6 eggs.
Nope.
No. So we have to do some regrouping, some borrowing, whatever it is the cool kids are calling it these days.
And if you've never seen regrouping or borrowing, I would say this might not be the video to learn it, but we'll give you some practice problems, and this is a good way to just to check and see if you know it.
Yeah. And so essentially what we're going to do is this 86 number, we're going to take a 10 from the 80 part. So
because 16 minus 8, that we can do, but 6 minus 8, hold on, would be a negative number.
Yep, that's too tricky. So we're going to put the 7 here, and we're going to borrow a 10 from that 80, so now we're down to 70, and then we have a 16 in place of the 6. All right, so I don't know if people usually cross those out. However it is, you've learned to do your arithmetic here. 16 minus 8
is 8.
8, and 7 minus 4 is 3. 6,444 minus 5,555. I think we're going to have to do some borrowing here as well because we can't do 4 minus 5. All right, so from the tens place here, I'm going to replace that 4 with a 3, and that makes this 4 into a 14. All right, 14 minus 5 is 9. 3 minus 5, ooh, got to borrow again. So from this 4, I'm going to borrow a 10. So what was a 4 there gives us a 13 here. So 13 minus 5 is 8. 3 minus 5, can't do it. From this 6, I'm going to borrow 1. So now I've got a 13 minus 5, yet again, 8. And then 5 minus 5 is a 0. I don't even need to write it. I mean, we could, but then I'm probably just going to erase it anyway. So 889 is our answer on this one. Where do you think people make mistakes on these problems the most, Science Mom?
I would say by not writing down what they're doing and then getting confused.
I think you're right. Trying to do too much in our head. We can all be pretty smart and clever at times, but when we don't write it down, we can make a lot of mistakes that are very avoidable. So I'd strongly recommend that you write things down and that you write it neatly, because sometimes we can't read our own handwriting when we go too fast, and that's frustrating. All right, so we have 942,393 minus 51,678. Some big numbers here. Let's start following the same process. 3 minus 8.
Can't do it.
We can't do it. So we go over to this 9. We borrow a 10 from it, which makes a 13.
Ooh,
We're allowed
now
to
we
regroup
can do it.
Okay, so 13 minus 8, we saw that already as 5.
And don't forget, you can pause the video, work out the rest of the problem on your own, and then keep watching to see if you get the same answer we did.
Now, strongly recommend that you do. All right, 8 minus 7.
1.
1. All right, 3 minus 6.
It's too small. We need to make that into a 13.
Okay, so from this 2, I will borrow a 10, so I can regroup. All right, 13 minus 6 is a 7. 1 minus 1?
0.
0. 4 minus 5?
Uh-oh.
Oh, 4 is less than 5. Okay, so from the 9, I will borrow a 10 here. So we've regrouped. 14 minus 5 is 9, and then 8 minus nothing is 8. We got 890,715.
And if we want to check and see if we got the right answer, we can add those two at the bottom, right?
Clever. That's exactly what I was about to ask you. And that's part of any subtraction problem. If you want to check your answer, you can add the final answer to the number that was subtracted and see if that gives you the top number.
Should we do it real fast?
Okay, so 51,678 plus 890,715. Okay, so we're going to do 8 plus 5 is 13. 1 plus 7 plus 1 is 9. 6 plus 7?
13.
13. Carry the 1. 1 plus 1 plus 0
is 2.
Okay, and 5 plus 9?
Is 14.
14. Carry the 1. 1 plus 8?
9.
9. 942,393.
And that was indeed the number that we had to start with. So we checked our work. We did it right. Woohoo!
Nicely done, Science Mom. All right. It's time to hand the pen over to Science Mom. Can she do this?
Do I remember how to subtract? We will find out. All right. 6 minus 4 is 2. 1 minus 4, uh-oh, I'm going to need to borrow. So I'm going to cross out the 8, reduce it by 1 to make 7, and then that means essentially that this is 11 minus 4 now, which is an easier problem to do.
Okay.
4.
7. 7. You got this, Science Mom. You can do it.
I got this. 7 minus 4 is 3, and 2 minus 6. The 2 is smaller than the 6, so I'm going to need to borrow, change that to a 5, and then I have 12 minus 6 is 6. 5 minus 2 is 3. There's my answer, 36,372.
I like it. Nicely done, Science Mom.
Thank you.
All right, same numbers. Now you have to add them.
Ooh, how fun. 6 plus 4 is 10. I carry the 1. 1 plus 1 plus 4 is 6.
Good.
8 plus 4 is 12.
So you carried your 1. I like it.
I did. And 6 plus 2 is 8, plus 1 more is 9, and 6 plus 2 is 8.
89,260.
Ta-da!
All right.
Special thank you to our patrons who made this video possible, and thank you to you for joining us, watching, and practicing your math skills.
Work hard, grow smart, and we'll see you next time.